Alright, I'll talk about it. Hello all my Holomaniacs out there, welcome back to the channel, it's so great to see you again. Now I've had so many people ask me to talk about this, and I wasn't going to talk about it, just because, well, once you hear my opinion, you'll understand why I didn't want to talk about it. I've had so many people ask me to talk about the new Genie system that Disney is launching for Disneyland and Disney World. I'm also waiting here trying to get my Magic Keys passed, but I'm in that waiting room for, it still says over an hour wait, that's another topic for another day, or who knows, it might even pop back in here at some point. But yeah, I don't have much else better to do, so let's talk about Genie. So for those of y'all who don't know what Genie is, to my understanding, Genie is supposed to be a mixture of the Fast Pass system and also the My Disney Experience thing. So there's multiple different levels and multiple different facets of this, so I will do my best to explain to you guys what's going on with it and to do my best to explain how it works, because it is a little complicated. Number one, there is the Genie service. Not Genie Plus, just Genie. And the Genie service is free to anybody who's planning on coming to the Disney parks. And the whole thing is designed to help you create your trip. It's basically supposed to be like helping you make your itinerary, saying like, okay, well, we want to ride this ride, this ride, this ride, this ride, and this ride. And it'll go on there and you're like, okay, well, these are all the best times to ride these rides. You can also eat at this restaurant, which would be nearby this one if you want to do that. And it really just helps you plan your trips, which I think is a really great service, and honestly something that Disney's really been needing to do to this level for a long time. For people like me who go to the Disney parks all the time, going to the parks is no big deal, we don't really need this. But for those who only come every so often, this is going to be huge, because there's so many things, if you're not in the know, you have no idea what's going on. Let's face it, going to Disneyland or Disney World is far more complicated than it used to be. I think this is a very good system that needs to be there. But I don't see anybody complaining about Genie, the normal Genie. The thing everybody's complaining about is the Lightning Lanes and Genie Plus, so let's get into that for a second. So Lightning Lanes are the new name for Fast Passes. For some reason, just like the annual passes, Disney said, hey, the name isn't good enough anymore, we're going to completely change the name, change the logos, change everything, and now it's Lightning Lanes. I don't know why they're doing this, but okay. And you may say that, oh, that sounds like you're just complaining because it's new. No, I'm looking at it from a perspective from the business. To my knowledge, no one had an issue with the word Fast Pass and no one had an issue with the word Annual Pass. But now they're spending all this money to rebrand everything, to relabel everything. That takes a lot of money to go through, like on all your websites, in all the rides, because it all has Fast Pass like on the ride. So now it's going to have to be changed to have Lightning Lanes on it now. Those are huge expenses. There was really no need to change the name. Why are you spending all this money when you don't need to? Especially when you keep complaining that you don't have enough money and you keep taking away all of our entertainment and raising all of our prices because you don't have the money. That's where I stand with it. I think that's stupid. But, you know, Disney's going to do whatever Disney does. Sorry, getting off my soapbox for a second. Back to Lightning Lanes. So Lightning Lanes are the new Fast Passes. And unlike before, they will not be free, either at Disneyland or Disney World. Now, in order to access the Lightning Lanes, you've got to get Genie Plus. Now, Genie Plus is going to be a different price depending on where you are at Disneyland or World. So Disneyland, it's going to be $20 per person per day. At Disney World, it's going to be $15 per person per day. And whenever you get this pass, it allows you to go into Lightning Lanes of certain attractions. And when I say certain attractions, I don't mean the big ones, I mean like the medium level ones. So you're paying 20 bucks to get Lightning Lanes for those. To my knowledge, I wasn't able to find like a full comprehensive list of what each one has. Some of their examples were, say, Haunted Mansion, Big Thunder Mountain, and Smuggler's Run over at Galaxy's Edge. Those were the few examples that I could see that were on the official Disney website. So it doesn't get you on the big attractions that everybody wants a Fast Pass for, it'll get you like in the medium level where some people would like Fast Passes for them. And for those rides that you can't get through Genie Plus, the big ones, you can still get Lightning Lanes for those, but you're going to have to pay a separate fee for each individual ride. And I'm trying to see exactly, okay, so some of the examples are Seven Dwarfs Mine Train and Radiator Springs Racers. That's the only examples they gave. I think there's probably going to be far more rides than that. Yeah, just basically the big rides, you're going to have to pay an additional fee for if you want those Lightning Lanes. Now, granted, you don't have to pay for this to get all these rides. That's not saying you gotta ride, you gotta pay for this to get in there. And also, this won't be a big change for the Disneylanders, but it'll be a change for the Disney Worlders. if you want to get a lightning lane, you cannot book that in advance. You will get your lightning, like you can pay to get the lightning lane service, but you cannot book a lightning lane until you are in the park that day ready to go. That's going to be a thing. For Disneyland, it's not going to be a big thing because that's how it's always worked with us. I personally prefer the Disneyland system myself, so I'm not mad about it. So I think it's also going to be better for the people just grabbing a ticket at the last minute, or, you know, families who don't go to Disney World all the time and don't know that, hey, if you don't book your fast passes 2 months out, you're not going to get any fast passes, or you're only going to get fast passes for the rides you don't really need them for. So when it was first announced, a lot of people had a lot of issues with the fact that there are now paid fast passes. I'm not upset with the fact that we have paid fast passes. Honestly, Disney has been late to the game on this, and I think they're one of the last major theme parks that still had free fast passes or whatever the alternative is of the other parks. Because, I mean, Universal's got a system like that. I remember as a kid when we went to Six Flags, you had to pay for those fast passes. I don't know if you still do, so I could be wrong on that. And even within Disney, I know that Disneyland Paris actually had a system where you could pay to get your fast passes, and you got it for like every major attraction. Which when I went, I utilized that. I paid for it, and it was really nice. As someone who didn't get to go to Disneyland Paris very often, that was great. I loved having that option, and it was really nice. But the thing was, you paid for one fee, it included all the rides. And that was one of the things that was so nice. When I go to Universal and I've paid for that pass, I've done that a few times, and it's been really nice over there. But when you do it with Universal, all the rides that you can get a fast pass for are included, or whatever their version is. I'm just going to call them all fast passes because I don't know what they're called everywhere else. But you know what I mean. So I know when I've used them, it's actually been a very positive experience. Now, granted, when I went to Disneyland Paris, you could still get the free ones. You just couldn't get it for all the attractions that you get if you paid for it. So it still had a free option. This whole thing has sparked a massive debate within the theme park communities. Whether or not having fast passes or lightning lanes or whatever you want to call them, having them is just detrimental to the customer experience as a whole, no matter what. I don't know if I'd go so far as to say that, but hearing some of their thoughts has been quite compelling to me. I don't know how it would work. I've never been to a theme park in my knowledge that didn't have that service at all. And I guess right now, if I went to Disneyland, there's no fast passes right now, which, you know, I went to Disneyland multiple times after it reopened, and I didn't really notice a huge difference. But people right now are saying, like, oh, well, wait times have never been lower. I'm like, well, I think part of that is just there's less people going because you don't have your annual passes anymore. There were no magic keys, which I'm still waiting for mine, by the way. Oh, I've got it under an hour. Now it's 43 minutes. I've only been waiting in front of my computer for an hour and a half. Yay! Thanks, Disney. So I don't know how much of that is attributed to the just lower crowds in general, or the lack of fast passes. I'd like to think it's the lack of fast passes, because then if we have less people using the fast passes, then the normal lines will go a lot faster. That makes sense. Especially because there was one time I went to Universal and I didn't pay for one of those passes. And I wanted to ride Jurassic World. It was still relatively new. I get in line, and when I get in line, it says it's going to be about an hour wait. I'm like, oh, okay. It's a new attraction. I'll wait an hour. And especially it's Jurassic World. It's one of my favorite franchises. I don't talk about it here enough, but outside of Disney, Jurassic Park is like my favorite thing. I love it. Love all the movies. It's so great. And so I wait in the line, and it ends up being 2 hours. And when I get to the front, I'm just like, what is going on? So they stop me right before I'm about to go on the ride. And so I'm next in line to get on a ride. But then 4 cars later, I finally get to board because there's that many people in the fast pass equivalent lane to go on this thing. And I was just like, that's what's taking so long. Shoot, that line is nuts. But then the adverse happened on the same day. I went up to Wizarding World of Harry Potter after I was done with that. I get in line to go on Forbidden Journey. I go through the locker part, throw my bag in. It was only like a minute or two line to wait to get in there. And as I'm walking to the normal line, I can see out the corner of my eye, I'm like, oh, there's the whatever the fast pass equivalent line is, and it's backed up all the way to the lockers. Like, that line is pretty long. So I'm like, this line must be pretty bad then. So I'm walking and 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 I'm walking, and I don't stop at the standby line until I'm right in front of the sorting hat. And if y'all have been to if y'all have been to Universal and rode that ride, you know that once you see the sorting hat, you take a left, you're at the ride. So it was basically a walk-on attraction for me, but not for the front of the line pass people. because their line was huge. So I don't know. I don't know if it would make it better to have less fast pass equivalents or not. My biggest issue with this is not necessarily that they're paying for fast passes. That's the least of it. And I have no problem with the base Genie service. I think that's something Disney has needed to do forever. That's great. So the base Genie thing, cool. You want to pay for fast passes? Okay, not the greatest, but alright, whatever. My biggest problem is that you're making it so difficult to get them. Like, if you just had one system where it's just like, hey, you pay this flat rate, sure it's not, maybe it'd be higher than $20, but if you pay this flat rate, you can get lightning lanes to basically everything. From a consumer standpoint, that seems far more appealing to me than like, you can pay this one fee and get kind of the medium rides, but if you want the good stuff, you gotta pay for that individually. That's just gonna make me not want a lightning lane in the first place. And maybe that's what they want. Maybe they just want to phase out lightning lanes altogether. I don't know why they would if they just changed the name and made it all fancy, whatever. I think they made it too complicated to get them. And that I think that they're assuming that the annual pass holders who are coming back to get their, oh great, and it said I'm back up to more than an hour now. Perfect timing as I'm talking about getting my magic keys, and my wait time just jumped up to get mine. Okay, we're going to talk about this at the end of the video, but I'm not going to lose my point right now. That we're going to pay for it like every time we go. Heck no. I'm probably not going to be touching the lightning lane service that much unless I'm with a friend who just really wants to do an attraction and the line is too long. I'll pay for it then. But if I'm just going by myself, nah, I'll wait in the lines. It's fine. I don't mind it. I don't think it's going to hurt the people who go all the time like myself. To us, it's not really a big thing. Whatever. Yeah, it's going to make our days a little less fun. But I don't know. It's not going to make a big enough difference for me to really hurt my experience. But granted, I'm more worried about those who don't go all the time. And this is like their only chance to go and they really want to make sure they ride everything. Kind of like with me in Disneyland Paris. With Disneyland Paris, I think it was a $40 upcharge or $50 upcharge, but you got everything. And to me, it was absolutely worth it and I would do it again. But with this system, and especially with the individual ride being a different price based on the date, if I didn't go to Disney all the time and that was what I was facing, I'm just like, okay, we're not doing any lightning lines. I have no idea how this works. I don't know what the price system's like. I don't get how this works. This is stupid. Why do you make it so complicated? Just, you either pay to get a fast pass or you don't, and you move on. That would just make me more upset if I wasn't a Disney consumer all the time, because like, I'm a Disney consumer. I will sit there and I'll learn the system and I'll do all that to know how to optimize my day. But if I only went like once or twice in my entire life, and that's what I was faced with, shoot, I wouldn't buy them. So who is this for? If the annual pass people aren't going to use it, and it's just going to be confusing to the people who don't go very often, I don't understand who this is for. You want to do a paid fast pass system? Cool. Make it easy to understand. You can even up the price a little bit. Whatever. Don't like it, but I can deal. It's just, you're making it way more confusing than it needs to be, and I think it's going to hurt you more than it's going to help you. But then again, I'm just a voice actor on the internet. I don't really know how theme parks work to that degree. I just like going to theme parks and like talking about them. So at the end of the day, I can be wrong about a lot of this. And I acknowledge that. And I know that. Okay, now I'm going to talk about this magic key thing for a second. So I have been here in front of my computer for almost 2 hours now, trying to get in to get my magic key, and it's been more than an hour. It's the same thing that we dealt with whenever Disneyland first opened, just trying to get tickets for just to go in. And oh, that line was annoying. This one is so far slightly better, but still really atrocious. And I don't understand what's going on here. It's like everything I've ever tried to book for any Disney experience online that required like either reserve seating or it just started is always horrendous. Always horrendous. It's always terrible. And I don't understand why that is. Because Disney keeps saying after every time it's like, well, we had more people than we expected. You've done this for years and years and years and it's always been bad. You know how many people are roughly gonna come. Don't give me that malarkey, because you've been doing this for years and it's never gotten better. So you keep pulling entertainment from the park saying you gotta save money. You keep raising prices for the tickets because you're low on money, but then you don't put it back into the systems that drive all of us nuts to make it a better experience for us who are trying to come. I'm trying to give you more money and you're not letting me. Or no, you're putting all your money towards just rebranding stuff that you already had where the branding was totally fine. But then you're not pouring it back into the systems that need it, but you're pouring it into systems that don't need it. Makes sense. Sorry, that was was a little harsh. But that's something that's really been bugging me and I don't get. Granted, there could be stuff going on behind the scenes I don't know. Like I said, I'm a YouTuber and a voice actor. I don't really know how theme parks are run. So maybe I'm missing something. But maybe it's it's harder to fix this stuff than I think. I don't know. This was a different video than usual. But now you guys see why I didn't want to make a video about it. Just because I'm kind of on the fence. I don't really know how I feel about it. I feel like it could yield some positive things, but it could also yield some terrible things. I don't know. I think it might hurt the experience for a lot of people. But if not many people do it and it makes the lines go faster for a normal line, shoot, I'd be okay with that. I just don't know. I just don't know. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And let me know down in the comments, what do you guys think about the Genie services as a whole? And I will see you guys later. Bye!